All right, quick break before we get started here today. I want to tell you about something that keeps coming up with the brands that I talk to. Now, here's the reality. If you're running paid ads right now, your ad platforms are probably only seeing about 40% of your actual conversions. Think about the iOS restrictions, the ad blockers, all these privacy changes that have happened over the last few years. They've all created this massive blind spot in your data. And so you're making these ad decisions based on incomplete information. And I've watched brands kill campaigns, honestly, that were actually working. They've just looked like losers in the dashboard. But I've also seen people pour money into campaigns that look great. But the reality is these are just taking credit for sales that they didn't drive. And so if you're spending $500 a month or even $50,000 a month, to me, that's really expensive guessing, and that's what my sponsor on today's episode actually solves. Their company is called WeTracked, and they're at wetracked.io. It completely fixes this problem. They are the number one highest rated ad tracking solution on Shopify. They have over 7,000 brands that are using this solution to get accurate conversion data back to Meta and back to Google. And technically, it just bypasses all of the tracking restrictions so that these algorithms can start actually learning your store and what's actually working. And the setup takes 5 minutes. There's no coding required. And believe it or not, they actually have real human support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's not a ticketing system. And literally, you can test out their solution right now for 14 days. And you can see the difference, honestly, in your data right away. So you can go to wetracked.io/e-commerce fast lane, or you can just go to the show notes. There's a special link in this episode, and you get a special 10% off for you, our amazing listeners. So, all right, let's jump back into today's conversation.
You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder, and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Hey there, welcome back to E-commerce Fastlane. I'm your host, Steve Hutt. Now, there's something that's been kind of bothering me lately, and I want to talk about it. And it really is about all the money that people are spending to drive to your Shopify store. You think about like all the ads that you run. Like you got Meta, you got Google ads, you got TikTok, influencer campaigns. There's a lot of stuff going on. And to me, it does make a lot of sense because they come to the store, and I appreciate the CAC. It's expensive right now, but you get people to the store. But it's weird though, I see so many brands where you spend all this money to drive traffic to your store, but then you almost instantly offer a discount to everybody who shows up. Like even people who are already ready to reach for their credit card, you're still kind of giving them a discount. Think about that for a second. Like literally, like you're paying money to bring someone to your store and they're ready to buy, and then you just hand them 10% off or 15% off just for nothing. And I think that's really kind of weird. I think the interesting about that is my guest today, he has a concept and he calls it, and what people do a lot, and we're all guilty of this, even my own store when I had it, was this kind of blind discounting. And he has built a really interesting solution. That's why I have him on the show today. His name is Muhammed, and he's the founder of a company called Growth Suite. And what they are is a Shopify app. And that really what it does is it kind of watches your website visitor and actually understands their behavior all across your store. So when someone's ready to buy, his solution just leaves them alone. Like you got them there somehow, so let's leave them. But if their solution, they find someone who's kind of hesitant a bit, maybe the shopper is about to leave, or maybe you can make them some kind of a personalized offer. So I think it's really quite interesting. And they're working with hundreds of Shopify brands right now. They're in the App Store. We're going to dig into all of this stuff. So hi, Muhammed. Welcome to E-commerce Fastlane.
It is great to be here, Steve. Thanks a lot for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So let's and thank you I know you're 11 hours ahead of me right now. It's 9 a.m. right now. I appreciate the hustle to get on this late recording and stuff today. But I think it's really important. I think margin is incredibly important. I think people are giving away a lot of margin right now when it's unnecessarily given away. And right now, with CAC being so high, people are margin squeezed right now. We're trying to be profitability. I know we think about retention strategies. How do we get the second and third sale? But right now, your solution solves the immediate problem of let's not give away unnecessary margin. So can you talk about this? And I think you use a word like traffic paradox a bit. You see this with a lot of your merge. I read LinkedIn, a couple LinkedIn posts you did. Can you talk about what this traffic paradox is first, just so we kind of set the stage and then we can kind of get into your solution?
Of course, Steve. The main issue with CrossFit is solving is, people are getting traffic to their store. They spend lots of money for them. And of course, they want to get higher conversion for it. And the most common way to solve it, giving discount, because we are all e-commerce buyers also too, who doesn't love a discount. And it works most of the time. But when you look at the data, what customers are really doing on your store, there is an interesting things happening. And people are coming to your store, they are looking at your products, and they just click on add to cart. And most of them, people who are clicking on add to cart, leave your store without even starting to checkout process. So when people think about checkout abandonment, it is a little tricky word because checkout abandonment and cart abandonment is completely different. For the checkout abandonment, customers have to reach the checkout page and they have to enter their email address. Otherwise, you don't send any email or SMS for them. So, and cart abandonment is completely different. You are scrolling on your Instagram, at the evening. You saw a nice t-shirt. You click on it and check the store. You like the product. You click on it to cart, but leave without buying. So what I am looking for is what is the real reason behind this? And what I found is a little funny and makes sense. Most of the time, people just use that button as a wish list. They like the product, they want to have it, but it isn't a functional buying. It isn't something you need to buy right away. It is a nice product, so they do it and leave. What we are looking for, building for, is a solution for this one.
Yeah, I love that because I think that's the thing is, and I think there are different types of people, you're right, that actually come to a store. If they're really excited about the product, they'll continue through the checkout flow. Don't give them a discount for that. But on the flip side, there are these people that you can tell that they're, time on site, they're doing certain actions on the website. You're obviously tracking and following in real time. Then you can kind of make decisions about, well, what should we do to nudge them along the checkout flow? So can you talk about that a bit?
Of course, Steve. What GrowthCity is doing is exactly what you mentioned. GrowthCity just keep track of each visitor one by one, the page they visited, the time of the day, the browser, the traffic source, the landing page, how many scrolls they did on the pages. And when it collects the data, it just creates a pattern of behavior. Based on the e-commerce funnel sections, the people who start a checkout but leave your store without even checking a product, people leaving your product page but leave without adding a product to cart. And when you go step by step, it just creates the pattern of unique segments. So what we are doing is we are waiting until the customer is acting like they are not going to buy in that session. When we see that, GrowthCity starts to make something. If it doesn't see that pattern, it just waits patiently. It doesn't hurry up to make an offer right away. Don't miss it. It doesn't that much.
Yeah. What's interesting too, though, because when I see brands, for example, let's say they have a welcome 10 or a new customer bonus kind of thing, I'm always worried, and there's a whole other solutions for this, but I'm also worried about the fact that these codes get into these shopping engines. And then all of a sudden, like the Honey, Capital One Shopping, all these different ones, and all of a sudden, and yes, people use those, but it just, once again, is another 10 or 15% margin loss that's happening. I think your solution is a little bit unique where, because you're this one-on-one personalization, you're dynamically creating a coupon code specifically for them for single use dynamically. That is an insane piece of technology that does that. Can you talk about that part of it? And it's so interesting. I don't want the code to go out to these, shopping engines, give away unnecessary margin, especially in the checkout flow. I mean, I use it. I check it. I run it on brands that I go to and let it run through all the codes. Oh, it found one. Wow, congratulations. Okay, that's not right for the brand because I was ready to buy.
Definitely. And as a brand, you lost a huge amount of revenue. If I explain that feature more perfectly, the main reason, as I said, the pleasure buying, it has to be something in order to convert people who are adding to cart but not starting checkout. You need to give them a reason only valid for now. You are sending reminder, it is okay. It's live under my Gmail. I have thousands of it and it doesn't give me a reason to complete my order right away. You can say it is ending soon, but nobody buys it, Everybody says it and everybody knows it never ends. So what I did is I have to give people a reason to buy now. So my first starting point is not creating a unique discount code for each visitor, but what I need to create is you see a timer, you see an offer from my store, you left it, and then tomorrow when you come back, you can't use it, If you use it, I lost everything. As a brand, I was just lying to you. So this thing, just when I follow these principles, it just makes me to create a unique discount code for each visitor and really expire them when the timer is off, and really doesn't showing any new offer to same visitor. At least they are in the cooldown period. And funny thing, whenever someone stopped using our tool, I constantly follow up with them, talk with them, learn their experience. And after just 2-3 days, they say, today someone asked me something, yesterday I got an offer, today I can't see it. Your tool is really not giving away timer again and again. That's the things really makes people excited and feel, I need to buy it right now.
I see. What about those people because there are different types of buyers that actually come to, there's these, I think the term is like hesitant shoppers. And I think that's where your solution kind of fits in. But what about these kind of like dedicated buyers that come in consistently? Clearly, your solution would kind of understand the difference between these two different types, especially the logged in experience is kind of different because then that would go down the loyalty road and point redemptions and all that kind of stuff. So talk about kind of those differences between the hesitant buyer or the dedicated buyer.
Definitely, Steve. Actually, I personally prefer walkaway customer, not the hesitant.
Walkaway. Okay, that's a good one.
It is just because hesitation can cause of lots of things. The product quality, do I need it? Will it arrive soon? They can be lots of reasons. But walkaway customers are more like, the pleasure buying. You like it. It is a nice store, but I don't need it right away kind of behavior. For the dedicated buyer concept, they don't have to be a logged in customer. What GrowthSeed is looking for is the pattern of behavior. And when you check your Google Analytics data, it is a great data, we learn lots of that and we create our strategy based on the data we have. But it is a little tricky because when you take the average of everything, it is just an average data. But when you create some sub-segments, it just gets things interesting. So I am personally an engineer, and I am in love with data from as long as I know myself. And when you look at the specific behavior of the people who are just buying away, and these are people, they don't use the discount code, even the hello bar. You put a code on the hello bar and some people, buy without using it. And their behavior are different, they might be getting a last minute gift. They might have someone tells them, your girlfriend, your wife says, you need to buy this and you just bought it, you don't think about it. That's the behavior of dedicated buyer. So what we are looking for is just the daily behavior, because the behavior on the product page, behavior on the collection page makes a huge difference. People have hundreds, thousands of products on their store, on their collections. And when I say, based on the data we have, your dedicated buyers look up only 3 products before buying their product. they just get shocked because in that collection they have at least 100 products. But the dedicated buyers, a little different mindset. They don't look up, 10, 20 different products. I like it. I need it. Someone taught me to I buy it. So I just got to buy it. So what we are looking for, that pattern.
Right. Yeah, that makes complete sense. So walk away. I understand that now. I'm going to use that term more often. And dedicated. Okay, that's really cool. The other question I'm thinking about is like when you think about the acquisition costs and kind of like paid ads and stuff like that, there's going to be a lot of brands that are listening right now that are a little bit more at scale, significantly more than 100 grand a month. There's some that are doing, upwards of $1 million a month that are listening right now in revenue. And what's interesting is when they start scaling their ads and their ads program through all these different networks and stuff like that, the problem gets crazier when you start adding in the discount strategy into that. So kind of walk us through like at a scale company where you're spending 100 grand a month on ads, because it seems that the incrementality makes a difference in small marginal gains by not giving away so much extra when you're sending so much, because that's what these marketers are looking for at scale. They're looking for these little levers to pull to saying, well, we're spending a lot of money and we have great ads that are running and we're, A, B, and C testing things and things are running great, but they're landing on the site and then all of a sudden we're giving away more margin. So walk us through what that means, certainly for a scale company right now.
Still, I have great examples because, as I said, I love the data, and when someone starts using GrowthIt, I follow them very closely. For example, a store, if they are making more than 100 orders per day, and they are, let's say, giving away 20% off with the huge welcome mat on their store. And when they start using GrowthIt, they see just the next day, their average order sizes increase and they feel it. It is around, for overall GrowthIt, average is 8% to 13%, the average number of product. But the main thing is, I just remember one specific example. So I just said more than 80 orders happened without our discount code in the same day, first day. And our engine just was, starting up, learning their behavior of data. When they see it, we just got back and forward mailing with each other. They ask me a question how you can do it. Because when they first start, this application is just giving time limited offers and it auto apply the coupon code, so everyone will get the code. And I said, just one day will be enough for me. And after just one day, they see more than 80 orders happened without any discount code. It is a huge amount. You have about 100 orders per day and more than half of them happened without discount code. So they see that it is just works when people act like a walkaway customer. And it gives them a confidence to make bigger offers. Because when you blind discounting, it is dangerous. It just hits you. But when you protect your dedicated buyers, then you can start making bigger discounts too.
Yeah. Now, what about the post-purchase experience? Because I think there's some solutions, I don't like these post-purchase upsells and cross-sells, which are kind of two different things. Some are within cart before purchase. You can kind of, upsell before checkout. And then there's post-purchase upsells too, where you can add on something for a limited time, or, hey, get two instead. You bought one, or, hey, should have bought the socks with the runners, and offer that to increase the AOV. I guess you have different parts of the platform that could be activated or not. And I guess one part of it is this post-purchase upsell option. Can you walk us through kind of how that works? Because this is not a new strategy and others are trying to solve it and doing it successfully to a certain degree, but more of a point solution. Like I want a post-purchase upsell option, or I want a cross-sell option built into my cart. You go at it a little differently, where you're dealing with, as you call them, the walkaway or dedicated customers, and how we're dealing with the timed exclusive discount codes. But then what happens when they get further along the journey? No code. What do we do to continue building that AOV?
Steve, this is a great question. And there are some news for you, because I have something even you don't know. I didn't
I love that.
mention to you. Yes. The main thing is, Steve, all of this happens because of the data. Because it happens just like this. One day I was working and I realized one thing. I know the customers very well, the visitors and their behavior. And on my database, I know their behavior related with the products. So I just explore it, what if there is something with the products, the product quality changed something. And there is a completely new world open to me. And I am telling you because I will share the big news right away. So GrowthSeed has now a few more things alongside with the post-purchase offer. What with the post-purchase offer is, since we know the customers and the products very well, the main benefit we are bringing to table is using the power of AI on your post-purchase store. Because I know the product, I know the customer, and I know the previous customers doing similar purchases. So you can create a post-purchase funnel just in 2 or 3 clicks, and it will recommend the most ranked product, most likely to people will buy on your post-purchase. It is simple, clean, and it works perfectly because instead of just picking one product to another one, trying to create some kind of bundles, it works like you are going to buy this. Most likely you will buy these 3 items based on the trends. So you don't need to deal with each combination. And in reality, you can't do it. There are endless combinations. The better part is now we have a cart rover too. It is news to you. We haven't spoke that one. Because of all the psychological things I design and craft the GrowthSeed based on it, cart rover is a very important space, and most of the time it is just copy and paste, and things are like 10 years practice. So I built my own cart rover, and the best part is, as I said, since we know everything regarding the products too, now customer can also create a product discounts. If product is a slow moving product, they are getting traffic but not having add to cart conversion, etc., we can do the discount itself product, instead of a coupon code, just decreasing the product price and seeing if that product moving faster.
Right. What's interesting when you talk about that, because the theory of what I call RFM, this recency, frequency, monetization strategy, this RFM modeling has been pretty popular over the years. I think there were some point solutions more for people to do SMS and email saying, hey, who are my loyal, who are my at-risk customers? And this is like looking at the Shopify database of customers and products. And then I think it taught people, it sounds like what you're doing dynamically also now, where you're understanding the customer journey. You're saying, well, if customer A, buys, let's say this, they know that maybe there's a leather wallet that goes along with it, and they buy that a week later or 2 weeks later in some kind of a post-purchase flow. And I think that's part of this recency, frequency, monetization. And then how do you deal with these at-risk people that are like churning? The average customer makes the second sale within like 30 days. How come? So now these people are moving to a different segment of people. These are like of known customers, right? So it's interesting that you're using the same kind of methodology with your solution now. So I think that's really cool. So I'm going to talk about I call this like the unpopular or the contrarian take, okay? Because, I think the unpopular opinion really is like, don't show an offer to everybody. And I think that's what you do. It's unpopular because I think most stores, a lot of times with baked in themes, they already have these sorts of timed exit pop-up-y things that are already you may be using a tool, OptiMonk or, Privy or whatever. You might be using some kind of tool like that. That's just kind of what they do. What's your thought about that? Like you go against the grain, so to speak, where people are just like, well, it's okay, the margin loss. We'll figure out, maybe we can still create dynamic codes. We don't care if they get shared or not. And, we can lose 10% margin. Like what's your whole mindset around that? Because it's contrarian to what most are doing. That gives you an edge because I know you're a margin enhancing company. So I'm just curious on your thought on that.
Still, I use most of the time the tools you mentioned, and personally 15 years ago, 16 years ago, those tools were perfect. We were doing something, crazy, and we are getting a huge results after doing them. And things in the last, I believe, 5 years, 6 years, things change a lot because especially after the COVID, when people start to using online shopping a lot, in that period. Behavior pattern change a lot. And today, I believe people just don't like to be cheated on it. Because personally, I have to admit it, I used some timers and they were not real. And they were skyrocketing to conversions like crazy. I remember 10 years ago, 11 years ago, those tactics was working. But today, people just get understand it. So what I recommend to people, just they think themselves. Because the customers are equal information. They know all the tricks and tactics. They do enter their email address and the checkout and leave on purposely to get just coupon. They do the searching, write your brand name and do the coupon search, discount code search on the Google. They know all the tricks. So what my opinion, what I am looking for is, if you create an experience on your store is, a nice experience, the thing people getting pleasure buying from you, it will just follow away. You get not a customer, but a loyal customer. They will be happy to buy you. So instead of just, pushing them, buy me, buy now, it just gets complicated. Even our default copywriting on the screens, they don't say, buy now. You have a special offer and it will expire in this type. We will just stand in that position, and so far, it really does the effect, because people really needs to, get respected behavior. I believe this is my personal opinion.
Yeah. And I know this has been beating a dead horse here about this topic, but it seems that brand really is the key differentiator. It's your competitive mode. Like, what are you doing to differentiate to others in the market, right? Because then, like, you think of some brands that just choose to not discount at all. And that's just kind of their brand ethos, because they've built this quality, the community behind it, these raving fans behind it. And so because of that, they can charge a higher premium, maybe not just luxury fashion, but just premium brands. So it's always a smart business choice to think about what can you do to differentiate your competitors and what's your unique value proposition, and then really building a community around the quality of their product that will help alleviate the unfortunate discounting mindset of a lot of people, right? So let's talk about implementations. I think that's important. It's always like, you have a Shopify app. I kind of went through it. I actually loaded it up in my demo store just to kind of see it running live. So the process seemed pretty smooth. Like, walk us through, like, once you add the app, what's actually going on in the background first? Can you walk us through, like, what people can expect maybe in the first day or the first 30 days? They load this thing in. It's now ingesting everything. It's understanding your store now. Is there a ramp-up period of learning site visitor behavior? And then is there any kind of like proactiveness or customer support or customer experience things post-launch about recommendation engines about, well, we're seeing this and you might want to try this? You can kind of walk us through what happens once you load the app.
Of course, Bill. When you, install the GrowthSeed Shopify application, it is, I believe, quite simple, because if you previously installed a FAV application at this, you complete your onboarding in less than 1 minute, because you just need to activate the app extension. It is the best practice recommended by Shopify. You just place our elements inside your product page. It is the most important place for us, and then it is done. And GrowthSeed just creates everything for you based on the data it has in your first installation. What you need to do is, I need to change colors, I need to change texts, etc. Just doing the final touches.
Yeah, and tweaks,
clicking on, yes, save button. In the first day, most of the time, after just 1 hour, you probably see a GrowthSeed sale. And this is what happens most of the time. And system starts to work with the existing database, with the customer behavior, not just your own data, but we have the data. So there is no such a thing like a wait 2 weeks, 4 weeks, we still need more data. It isn't the case. But as long as we keep learning, you see some kind of reports directly on your dashboard, because GrowthSeed is not about just time limited offers, countdowns, etc. You have lots of detailed reports like product performance, dedicated customer buying patterns, etc. Those are living on your reports, And it just gets smarter after 1 week, 2 week, but it doesn't matter. In the first day, you will have sales without growth seeing discount codes, and growth seed will capture some of the walkaway customers.
Right. So then, are there any trends now that you're seeing? Because here's my thought is that in the Shopify, app kind of ecosystem, there are marketing platforms that basically the app could be added or it's a custom injection, but a lot of the work happens on a third-party solution kind of as a separate custom login. There's a pipeline between the Shopify data and what's going on the platform. And the other side of it is that like what can happen from within the admin of Shopify. What's your thought about those two different kind of like mindsets about, well, what's happening inside Shopify admin as part of my day-to-day and how my business runs versus what's happening on a separate platform with a pipeline between the two?
Actually, I kind of in now with the Shopify structure and the way Shopify handle the things. Growth City is just directly working on the Shopify side, and we use all of our data based on the Shopify's own database. We keep track of all of webhooks. We use our Shopify APIs to get the data. And when you use some kind of third-party solutions, third-party data pipelines, it can cause some, inconsistency, because there is always a difference between what you see and what you get. And those differences just makes the trick. So huge platforms, of course, they have their own third-party platform, as you said. But personally, if it is not necessary, if it is not, has to be on the third-party, Shopify's own structure is perfect. I just love the way it is.
Yeah, it's amazing. Now, what about agency partners? And the reason I bring this up is because I feel that, we're on the show talking about your solution. I found it. I think it's very interesting. That's why I wanted to share your opportunity to a wider audience. But what I find interesting is that a lot of some of these interesting point solutions are actually recommended by either marketing or development kind of agency partners in the Shopify ecosystem. And so, like, number one, are you agency friendly? And then, like, what do you see as some of the potential growth opportunities? Because at the end of the day, it seemed to me, if I was a SaaS founder, because our agency people that are listening to this episode right now, they're thinking, hey, wait a second, is there opportunity to learn about this tool? Are there some case studies? Can I start recommending this tool to my clients? Because at the end of the day, they're usually on retainer for whatever it is that they do. And, recommending solutions like in the early days, they're saying, okay, well, recommend Klaviyo or recommend Omnisend, or let's do Attentive or PostScript, or, rebuy engine, like whatever the solution was, people would be recommending them and implementing them because they know they worked. And so what's your thought about the whole agency model and as it relates to Growth Suite?
Steve, you are great, because this is most important thing for me. So far in the Growth Suite, I have a lot of time developing the Growth Suite, and agencies are the end consultants, are the best people to work with for us. And we have a great relationships with them. There are some developer agencies, some of them marketing consultant and marketing agencies and conversion agencies. I have some really good friends on all the categories, because agencies and consultants has a constantly create some success. It is something different, but they produce result, and clients will say, this is great, you are great. And after just 1 month, 2 months, they are looking for, some another magic, like, we need to increase more. So they are always looking for something new, working and generating results. And the pattern I see, whenever an agency comes with Growth Suite, they always have some hesitation because of, there are thousands of apps in the Shopify app market, and some of them not good, they are not happy with them. And after just installing it 1 week, I even have some partners bringing another 3-4 customers after just 1 week installing. They just give it a try for one customer, and then they just start to use it on other clients they have. For the agencies, I believe I try to do my best for them, such as first, customer can get the specific packages thanks to the agencies, because for the agencies, I recommend the most competitive packages. Second thing, they have the data, they normally won't be appear on the dashboards because we can talk with them. They have some specific needs, and I just recommend them a quick fix solutions, and they are happy with that. And the third way, there is no way to win alone. My main focus is making win the customer, and then as when it hits, it's just the agencies. I recommend them, offer them a lifetime revenue share program, and we are all end of the day we be happy. Customer is happy because they start to turn increase conversion interesting way. They just get an audience. Previously they can't convert. Agency become happy because ROAS, customer acquisition cost, these are very important metrics, and the traditional ways not making too much effect on it, but with the growth rate they see right away. So agencies and partners, consultants are welcome. I love to talk with them, and they are great.
Yeah, we'll make sure I'm going to put details in the show notes for sure. I really feel that it actually makes the agency partners actually look like heroes too, because when they recommend solutions that are a little bit outside the norm, so to speak, but they're like, no, but there's some great results. There's a lot of brands that are looking for progressive, modern solutions that are actually working. And I think that makes the agency partner look like a hero, as I said. But then at the end of the day, it really is about the customer, or the merchant that owns the store. They're looking for the results because they are paying a retainer usually for ongoing marketing services. It could be running their ads program. It could be running their SMS or email. There's all different ways. Or even a lot of times I find I remember in Shopify days that there was a migration path that developer agencies would do where they would have, and even venture-backed companies, they would say, okay, if you have a company that's on Salesforce and you're trying to bring them over to Shopify Plus, they had like a laundry list of things that they said, okay, we know what works. Number 1, we have to install this. Number 2, we need to install Klaviyo. Number 3, we have to install the, they just had a whole list of things they knew that these were best of breed, and they would have these solutions would be installed right away. And there was a PDF. I remember seeing it internally. And so that motivated me to think, wow, big venture-backed companies doing replatforming, they're coming to Shopify. The old saying, Shopify does 80% of commerce really well. It's that extra 20% needs to be filled in with problems that Shopify is not currently solving. That's where you kind of fit in. You're solving something unique that Shopify doesn't do. They do discount codes and they do lots of different things, but they're not thinking the buyer behavior, and the walkaway customer versus the dedicated customer and these sorts of things, right? So I think it's interesting that agency partners really can wow their customers, I think, by saying, hey, we have this solution. And I mentioned the agency partners now, try the solution out. It'll be in the show notes, but it's worth trying it on one of your clients for a couple of weeks. Even you foot your own bill for it, because you're going to prove it to the customer that in fact it actually works. And their margin goes up. And they're like, okay, wow, wow. What are you guys doing? And then all of a sudden it goes down. It continues that great relationship. So yeah, it's really cool. Love this. So what do you think our next steps are? People are listening now. We got the agency people, and then we have the end consumer people. Where should people go, and what do you believe some of the next steps are for those that are listening today?
If they, want to try a new strategy on their store, most of the time they just do the things like 5 years, 6 years, the same thing. They just doing the same thing again and again. But I recommend them just give a try to a new strategy, because making a limited time offer for walkaway customer is something new and impactful. They can just book a call with me. It is free on my website. They can install GrowSuite. It has 2 weeks free trial, and when they say they are coming from Commerce Fastlane, I can make them a special offer too. And they can just see the results. That's what I can say. And of course, keep up the next episode, following your podcast.
Oh, this is amazing. Thank you so much. All that'll be in the show notes. So it's growthsuite.net. You can look up GrowthSuite on the Shopify App Store is going to be there. We'll have the transcript for this episode, hopefully on YouTube, what we're seeing here. And this has really it's been impactful. I've learned a lot today. Thank you for kind of adding a few extra pieces that I didn't realize what you were working on. It shows you the dynamic nature of what's going on in the world right now. And it sounds like, not that you have a public roadmap, but I think you're visioning and getting feedback from your customers and thinking, I have a great MVP that's working great, but man, I'm going to keep adding on to this as I get more and more customers and get more and more feedback. And I love that. And I wish you continued success in the Shopify ecosystem. And thank you so much for recording today.
It's all my pleasure, Steve. Thank you.
All right. Have yourself a great day.
You too.
Well, for you, it's a great evening.
Yes.
All right. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of E-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.